Welcome back to Conversations with Sharyn and Rosa. I'm Rosa.
And I'm still sharing.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode with Conversations with Sharyn and Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who are new, just turning into our channel, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends about Conversations with Sharyn and Rosa. And thank you for joining us. And also, thank you for joining us for those who have been with us since day one. We appreciate each and every one of you all.
Right. We appreciate the support. We really do.
And you all know, before we get into today's topic, we're going to do some shout outs. So,
I think that's cute.
First on the list is Tanya W. Thank you for being our subscriber and for watching faithfully to Conversations with Sharyn and Rosa. Next, we have Annie J. We appreciate you. We appreciate all your comments. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Chris A. We appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you for your comments, too.
Yes.
We love you all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we love you, and we actually get back to you. We try to, usually that's me doing that, and Rose and I, we read all the comments, but we take the time out to respond to you and respond to the fact that you cared enough to take the time out of your busy day to not only view it, but, think about it and share your thoughts with us as well. It helps us grow. It helps us connect with you more and more. And look, everybody don't like what we say, and that's okay.
Somebody must be caught up on the responses because now she can say that.
Yeah,
we reply to all of them.
We do try.
Yeah, we definitely do try. But today's topic is some of you all may not be able to relate, some may, but
many will.
But it's something Sharyn and I can definitely relate to. And actually, when we have things we want to talk about, other things may bump it. And so yesterday we met with some friend of ours, and they both had different perspective on children. And so that's when we decided we're going to be talking about She Wants Children, Do You?
Whoa.
So let me repeat that. She wants children, but do you?
Pow pow.
Pow pow, Marcus. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
pow
good.
Pow, Marcus.
It is serious, and it's we're surely not making light of it. And it was just meeting with them, and not to mention talking with our many other friends and everything.
Yeah.
No two couple had the same rents on it, ideas about it, similar but not the same because every situation is different.
Exactly. And they were fairly young. So I'm going to say, if you're younger than 30, maybe 35, you still have time for things like that. To me, in my opinion, I don't know where you are on your journey. Some people like, no, I don't have time. Some do, whatever. But
It's personal.
It was the fact that they were a couple and one wants children and the other one doesn't. So
prefer
it's like,
not to.
Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
And how does that look? I mean, for the one who wants children, do you stay in the relationship knowing that your other partner don't ever want a family bigger than the two of you all outside maybe a dog, a cat, or a bird? So so Sharyn and I will be kind of telling you what our rinse is.
Right, because we surely have had some vivid, lively discussions about children. And again, remember I said, every couple, wherever you're at on your continuum of longevity, it's still a question that comes up more often than not.
Yes.
Women do have children, lesbians do have children, and couples have children. So it's there, and but not every woman wants to be a mother.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's say that. So, and looking at the way Rose and I had wrestled with some things in our life and where she's at as opposed to where I'm at and how we have worked it out or still working on it. It's unique, as every couple is, as stated, but today we really want to just take that jump right into it. The title of the discussion today is She Wants Children, You Don't.
Right.
Or do you? Because some of us have not even answered that question completely to ourselves, not to
I
mention
think,
in our relationship.
yeah, but I think a lot of people are surprised when you say, I never really wanted to, date someone with children. And then you end up marrying a woman with two. So
Um,
I think when you shared that yesterday, they were a little shocked too.
yeah.
So maybe you could share a little bit of that
Oh,
today.
I'll get to look, I'll
Okay.
get to old boring me. But I'm throwing it out there for the people. If you're in a relationship, that you think that would even support the weight of the idea of having children, because it is a big it's a big one. It's a big rock. Have you even had the conversation with your partner, your significant other, your wife, your woman, your sweetie, whoever you hooked up and booked up with? Have y'all even had the conversation? Does it even come into question, or does it come into a dialogue item? And if you have had the conversation, how did it, what was the conclusion?
Right.
Because sometimes we go merrily into the dark and they say, oh, I feel like she feels like I do, I feel like she do, and they say, oh, wait a minute, I do want a child. I'm 35 years old, and I see myself being a mother before I'm 38. Wherever she's at on her timeline. And then you may got shot in the dark. You you want what? Can't we just get a dog and call it even? No, if a woman wants a child, she wants a child. And if she's with someone who doesn't, there could be the rub.
But in a same sex marriage or
Connection,
just connection, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's two women, it's like your conversation has to extend a little further than that. So if you do want a child, then who's carrying the child? Are you all going to adopt a child, or just raise a niece or nephew? You know what I'm saying?
It happens.
Somebody always might need somebody else to be raising their children. Sometimes we're just not there. But
and even if that's not the situation, you want a child. Do you want to be artificially inseminated? Do you want to be,
right?
Who's the sperm donor? So again, back to just having the question: do you, me, we, do we want children? Yes or no? And if we do, if the answer is yes, how are we going to go about producing this child?
Right.
Are you physically going to have the baby because she's the femme? Are you physically going to have the baby? Which is not the butchiest thing I've ever heard of, but I've seen a lot of butchers with children because we're women first.
Right.
Okay, regardless of what line you choose to step into later. And might I say, just talking about it doesn't solve it. It doesn't solve the question of, do we want children? What it does is open up the dialogue.
Yes.
Because sometimes, like I say, you're thinking that she's thinking one way, and here it is, she's thinking totally the other. And I will say this, putting the spotlight on me just for a second, I think it also matters where you're at in your life's journey. Mm-hmm. How old are you chronologically? You know what I mean? I just think it's so easy to do when you're 19 and 23. You may not do it so fast at 28 and 31.
Right.
Even slower at 35 and 38. You understand what I'm saying? Since where you're at, your maturity level, is your world ready for a child? So my question is to all of you out there: is have you and your partner even talked about the idea of having children, and what was the answer? Whether it was yes or no, how are you going to navigate that? Especially if one partner really, really sees herself as being a mother at some time during this lifetime, and you not only know, it ain't happening. So let's talk about us. How did we navigate that situation?
Well, probably you need to talk about it more so than I do because, and I'll tell my story, but the fact that you met a woman with children and you have never had any biological kids of your own,
right?
Maybe how was that for you? You know what I'm saying? But for me, let me just tell my story and then you can tell yours.
You go ahead, Rosa.
Well, I had my first child at 30, and that's because I vowed up until at least 28 years of age that I was not having children. I'm like, don't want any.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in foster care. I grew up then, I went into a nice stable home, but the world just wasn't my favorite place to be, and I didn't want to bring a child in it. So let me just put it that way. And
well, can I interrupt 1 second? With that thinking, and I appreciate your honesty. Did you think you didn't want to have a child because you didn't want the child to have the same experiences in life that you had so far?
Absolutely. Okay. And that was the beginning thinking, because it started in high school. I'm like, I'm just not, going to bring a child in this world, and they have to experience hunger. But at the same time, my thinking wasn't, I'm going to be the one providing this for them, and it was like I didn't see the means or anything like that. So of course, in my mind, it just wasn't going to happen. Right. And when I was about 28 was the first time I thought, I don't think I want to, leave this earth and not have something left behind of me, so I wanted to kind of keep that going. But even though at 28 it left too. And so at 29,
like a mist in the night.
Right, at 29 it came back up. And so that's kind of when that actually did happen, because I was taking, steps to, okay, if this happens, where am I going to be? I wasn't married at the time. I was dating my kid's father, and matter of fact, when I was 6 months pregnant is when he and I got married. So you can understand that story or not. So
or not.
Yeah. So that's kind of what happened. I got pregnant, and I'm like, yes, okay, I guess it's that time, and we had been careful all these years, so it had been fine. But at the same time, I had to mentally get ready, and I still, even though I had a job, felt like, had a home, felt like I could bring a child in there.
College education.
It's still, right, college educated. It still didn't feel like I could provide all the way for a child, because just not putting food in their mouth, it's like nurturing them and steering them in the right direction and knowing what they don't know before they don't know, so it was all of that. And
and also knowing that you didn't know everything.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You're staring them, and you don't even know if it's the right way.
I've been a lot of places, but I've never been here.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
So at 30, I had my daughter, and looking back now, of course, I wouldn't change any of that, except for some of these stretch marks, but we're not going there. But
she left her signature upon you. Okay.
Actually, my son did, but that's a whole nother story. So at that point, it was like, this felt right for me. It felt right. But when I got a divorce and I knew I was coming out as a lesbian, that's the first thing you think. You're like, a lot of lesbians don't really deal with a lot of kids. You see the lesbian world, and you don't really see a lot of kids in it. So that was my vision of it.
Right.
And I did, when I was online, I got some women that said, you're beautiful, would love to meet, but I just don't do the kid thing. And I understand that. And I would rather for you to tell me that up front.
Not to mention young kids.
Yeah.
You had very young kids. I mean, because you didn't have your first
very, very young.
Well, they were young in the sense that lesbian-minded women out there, they're not looking for toddlers or 5-year-olds or whatever.
Some of us, they were like 12.
Well, even then, but they're still young. When I think of children being young, meaning, can you feed yourself? Can you drive a car? Do you have a job? If the answer is no to all of them, you're a young child.
True.
Okay. Oh, too old to be sleeping on my couch.
So when I met Sharyn, they were 12 and something.
They were 9 and 13,
9 and something, yeah.
But 9 and 12, 9 and 12.
So they were at that age, but at the same time, not at the age where you still got to get a sitter to come through, and if Sharyn and I are trying to do things, so I get it, and I get all of that. No thing, but my whole thing was what attracted you to me enough to say I'm gonna put that aside and still date this woman, even though I don't really do kids and young kids at that point.
Well, there was a lot, and maybe we're going to save that for a different video. But the short story is, I was really feeling Rosa, and I felt that she was, thinking I'm okay too. So, I met the children. They're wonderful. They're well behaved. They're they're good kids. But remember, I'm an older lesbian. I was definitely past my 58th, 59th birthday, and again, making it about me. If had I had children as a younger woman, perhaps I would have been more prepared mentally to even walk toward the idea of that. And then, had I had children, I probably would have been a grandmother by now because I'm, in my 60s. Well, because that didn't happen to me, I surely wasn't trying to go out there and seek it, right? So, and then if and I was, I dated women who were more my age group, but their children were grown and gone, not even sleeping on the couch. It was one woman I think we had dated 6 months before she even showed me a picture of her child, and that was okay with me. So like, she said, "Oh, I got children. You want a picture will do." Evidently, So here it is. I meet the very vibrant, young, lovely sweetie pie who, AKA Rosa. I meet her, and she's got these two children, and yes, it did give me pause, because maybe I was just so wrapped up in the moment too, and then the reality set in. Like, are you ready to co-parent at this time in your life with this woman who you are now married to? And I'm gonna tell you, raising children is no easy feat at all. Not to mention in the way the world is, the way society is going. They're more computer literate than I am. Like, I'm done. Like, well, who's she talking to online? I don't know. How do I find out? Or just things you got to be aware of. And then I remember one of the first times Rosa had to do some road time. She had to go on a business trip, and she was going to leave me with the kids. Oh my God, I was sweating bullets because and she kept telling me what the schedule was and this and that, and make sure you're here at 3:30 and be here at 5 o'clock, and take this one to swim class and this one to the music class. And I was like, I was just overdone because I felt the immediate weight and responsibility of two young children. And then I said, oh my God, suppose one of them fall down and hurt their knee. She's going to think I hurt her child. Don't let nobody get hit by a car. Don't, whatever. I mean, really grand, false scenarios in my mind. But on the same token, that's what fear will do to you. Because I'm saying, this woman, I kind of thought it was a test. And then so, and I'm old school, like I cook, you eat well, everybody got a special menu. He don't like that, and she don't eat this, and she don't, and I'm just like, I was so happy when Rosa came home. I was so, because it was not easy for me because of the reality of it all. And like I say, if they had been older, I might have been okay with it. Let's just go order a pizza and a Coke and have some fun, and play some Monopoly, and you all look at your movies, and and the house has got the alarm. Maybe it would have been that easy, but it really wasn't for me because I was terrified. I was terrified. And then we had to navigate the personality thing because, again, yes, there's an age difference with Rosa and I. She's a younger mother. I've never been a mother, and y'all can relate. Some of y'all can relate to, people who have never had children get really tired of y'all who have had children thinking we know nothing about children. Okay, and the psychology of, and raising them and all of that. And so I was a little pinched on that. I'm thinking, here's my attitude. How hard can it be? There's just two children. They got a wonderful house. They got their own rooms and television and phones. They got all the toys they ever want. You what? What you whining for? And I could just see how wrong I was. Incorrect. So with that, my life has changed. I am now, they are my stepchildren by law, but I got two stepchildren, and I'm like a corny old parent now. I pull out the pictures as quick as Rosa will. Well, here, here's Peyton, here's Tyler, and I'm grooving with it. And then I had to get real serious, go back to the universe, and it's like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Why, God has placed these children in my life, and what's up with that? I don't remember praying for them. I asked for love and kindness and care and someone who could really understand my jokes. And he sends me Rosa, but with Rosa comes two kids. And it took some adjusting. And I would say, not putting words in your mouth, sweetheart, but I would say we're better now. And we're going toward 5.5 years. It's better now than it's ever been. and it could still use some work. So,
But I often would tell you that. I was like, they grow up and, get a different perspective on who, you are. They came in not knowing you. They didn't know you anything like I knew you. So
I didn't know them either.
Right. So, on their side, they're definitely, they love you and,
And
they're good with you.
Yeah, but I also know there were some hard days in there. They really
definitely
were, because I know for a time that it really threw Rosa for a loop, and I think she was going to throw in the towel, because it's not like you don't choose between your spouse and your children. Children will always come first. I get that. I totally get that. You know what I mean? And then, the kids are in her ear. Well, Miss Sharyn, she didn't make what I like, and and she wasn't there on time, or whatever stories they were sharing with their mother. And they were all true, but I didn't think I was being a bad parent. You know what I mean? And no, you can't eat your lunch in your room. Come downstairs at the table. And they like, their eyes spinning their head like, where did my mother get this one from? Right? Then I want them to make up their bed. Oh, I am mean Miss Jean. Okay, because I asked you to make up your bed. So, and then Rosa, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. And remember, they're not used to you and this and that. And then, it was challenging.
Very much challenging.
Very challenging. And I would say, like I said, honestly, it almost divided us to the point we were going to have to give each other a high five and say, sweetie, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
I was like, we can be friends, but we gonna move on.
Yeah, because I see this.
I'm gonna take my 2 babies and we gonna be out.
And the thing is, they're good kids. They're wonderful kids, And so it wasn't just them, and don't get me wrong. I mean, they had met some of their mother's friends before, so it's not like they didn't know their mother was lesbian and they didn't know that, that wasn't the issue. Yeah. It was me. It was me. So I mean, I prayed about it, and I had to do some serious thinking.
But I think what was a really lifesaver for our relationship too is that their dad sent for them to come, and so by them not being in the house full time, I think it kind of gave us chance to know us, to then incorporate them. So by the time they were coming back for the holiday and the summer, we were at a better point in life.
Yeah, in our relationship too.
In our relationship, God saw the whole plan, and it was a good plan. Because I almost didn't send them, just because He wanted them didn't mean I was sending them. But looking at all of the different scenarios, I'm like, probably be a good idea. So. Yeah,
at least for a little while, and it gave me time to catch my breath. So what we're saying, or at least at this juncture, just speaking about children, women who want children, it is an incredibly big decision because you want to be a mother now. She may not want to be co-parenting right now, or your career, her career, finances, where we're going to live. Her mother doesn't approve of the relationship, so she's a grandmother, but she doesn't want to be a grandmother because y'all 2 women done had a child. It is so much bullshit that can come wrapped around that. It's unbelievable. So today we just want to keep it real and talk to us about it. Do you want children? Yeah. And if the answer is yes, the other question is, does she?
Exactly.
Does she?
And starting that conversation is good at the beginning. Everything starts for me at the beginning because you know what you're getting into. Mm-hmm. You can't say, oh my goodness, she led me on for 3 years and I thought she always wanted kids and now she says she doesn't. I mean, people can change their mind. Don't get me wrong on that. Mm-hmm. But if they told you at the beginning and that was part of the plan, then of course that's what you go with. But yesterday I must say I felt the friend who didn't want kids was very, very honest, and I appreciate her honesty, even with her partner sitting there. But I was just taken back by why she wanted didn't want
The one
kids.
kid,
And it was mainly because she just wanted her time with her partner.
right.
And she was like, the child will be taking that away. It's going to be, they got to, change diapers, feed kids. It's like, where does she fit in? And it's, you think about, is that being selfish, or is that being, I guess, living your authentic life? I mean, everybody just
And it's different,
don't want
and you
kids.
know what? And look, applauding everyone for the right to feel the way you do, because, like I say, you're not going to get two opinions that's going to be identical, because every relationship is different and has its own issues and concerns, if you will. What I enjoyed was just the honesty of it, and just because we're women and you meet that woman of your dreams doesn't mean that she wants to be the mother to your kids. Okay, our kids, the kids.
But I must say this, for those who already have children and, looking for a relationship, or you're in a relationship, you got to be with someone who's supportive
Yes.
of your children too, not just you. Because I think with Sharyn and I, that's where, when I look at it, that's where I think Sharon's pinch was. She was very, very supportive of me. I just didn't necessarily see that with the children, but I think as time grew, she understood where that was coming from. And I didn't fault her for anything, because it wasn't a conversation she and I had at the beginning, but it was a known fact that I had children,
right.
before we both said I do. So
Right.
I never really thought she didn't want kids, because she knew I had children. So I guess she was dealing, kind of dealing within her own self to say, okay, is this woman worth it for me to,
Change my life.
break one of my, I'm not going to, date a woman with children.
Wait a minute. If I wanted some, I'd have some.
But sometimes that's not always the case. When you see women without children, it's not because maybe they didn't want any. They may not be able to have children, or that moment
That's
for
true,
them
too.
just may have passed by and came by so quickly. Some people are just more career driven and don't think about family till later down the road. But then later down the road, some complications could happen.
Yeah,
So,
or it's too late.
so
or,
yeah,
or-
so
yeah.
it's not everybody doesn't want children that doesn't have children.
No, but for the people who fit that description, you know who you are.
Yes.
And they're in their own camp.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're right. Just because you don't have them don't mean that you didn't want them. It's just life might have just taken you a different way. Oh, you found out you can't have them. Or, some women have just waited so late in their life, like, oh, I'm 43 and I think about doing that next year. Next year, you're 44. You know what I mean? You're going to, and we know if that's the best time for your life, it's the best time for your life. But we know, statistically speaking, the younger the better in that sense, just for your body to respond and nature to do its thing and all that. There's a reason why nature cuts us off. Then they had it was a story about some woman in Italy. She was 65 years old and she had a child. See, that was a horror story to me. There's nothing pretty about that. Now, I mean, I don't
really think she set out to have a child, though.
No,
but when you get pregnant at 65, it probably was a shock for her too.
Yeah.
But
So I wouldn't be in prison, but I would be in an insane asylum. I'm like, what?
Exactly.
No, but I wasn't doing things to cause them. But as we're saying today, it is a serious conversation, and whether the woman has children, or you guys are planning to produce a child, I think they're equal. They're very heavily weighted.
Yeah,
they really are. And I mean, like when I met Rosa, I mean, like, you got 2 kids. Okay, that comes with the package. Oh, okay. Now, would I have preferred a package without kids? She knows me, and this is not going to hurt her feelings. Yeah, kids are time, energy, incredible amounts of attention and caring for. I don't. It's a lot. Yeah. And at my age, that's a lot. It's just a lot. Yeah. Truthfully, when I think of going on vacation, I think of me and my wife going to Hawaii or somewhere, tropical, and just have a wonderful time. I don't think of, oh my gosh, what about the kids? Oh, now everything costs 3 times as much. Then you got to work on schedules, who's at school and where they at, and and coordinate New York with California, but we're really going to the Bahamas. It's just too much. It's so much. It's a lot of things that I've never had to entertain before, notwithstanding finances. That it's going to cost you no matter what you do, right?
But let me ask you this: so, in your younger self, did you not want to date a woman with children because of almost the same reason our friend had yesterday, for just the purposes you just want all the attention versus the child?
If I felt that way, I may have. We soften over the years.
I mean, just say why you didn't want to date a woman with children.
Because that's not what I wasn't looking to do. That I was looking to date women, and women with children. It was like, okay, I want to date you, but now we got this is a babysitter. Now I got to be back at 8:00, and then what we gonna feed? Honey, let me go with the girl who ain't got no kids. No, I'm serious. I mean,
I just asked you that because I think a lot of people can relate to that. Yeah. I mean, for those who don't date women with children, you have your own reasons and stuff like that.
But let me say this: we're talking about women with nice children. When you're dealing with a woman, you're dealing with the way she felt was the best way to raise her children.
Right. So you don't know how they are.
Right. They may be little demons. You know what I mean? I don't mean that, but I do. And like I say, fortunately, Rosa's children, they're nice kids, mannerable, and all of that. Some children, you know what I mean? It's like, has he always been like that?
But I think we as lesbians have this notion of who is the best for us sometimes, and we don't give it the chance. Like when I was out there dating, and this one woman, she was like, yeah, you nice and blah, 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 but I just don't date women with kids. I really thought she was too, and I really thought we could have been a match, but it's like, could that really, was that really for me? And she, missed her blessing without doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like and I'm not saying you all have to change your notion. I'm just saying open your mind more when it comes to that, because that could be your soul partner.
Yeah, and you've totally you disqualify them just because they have children.
Or maybe you were supposed to come into those children's lives for whatever reason. So, you got to look at it differently, especially in our circle, because the circle really is not that big in a sense. So, you got to look at it. And people have had lives before you came about, so...
Yeah. So it's not easy. So we're not saying that it is. We're just saying that each situation is unique. I'm not shocked when people want to have 3 children. I'm not shocked when they don't want to. But I do think some of us lesbians out there, I think we get a bad rep, if you will, to some degree of just like, what? You don't want to have kids? No. Oh, no. And then like I say, it puts a different dimension to the relationship. It puts different stresses and pressures on, dare I say, and not to even mention finances. So now, like, our daughter's at a top school in America, one of the top schools in America, and doing a great job and wonderful. But it costs money to put children through school. That's not what
She's in one of the top HBCUs.
That's all right. It's all
in
good.
America.
Yeah.
But it does cost.
Yeah, and everything does. Everything does
more than it should.
So I didn't think having that future scan. Nowhere did it say that. Oh, Sharyn, you need to come up with college tuition because you and your wife are. You know what I mean? At 65. Oh, I'm 66. Okay, at 66, are you kidding? But you do what you got to do because you do have children. Because you bought the ticket and and I want to get on a ride. And this is my Rosa, and the kids come as a package, so it's all good. Sharyn, speaking on Sharyn, I think I've done very well. But then again, I'm a Gemini. I'm very flexible. I just want to know, can they cook? Can they cook? Let me teach them to cook. But on a serious note, you know what I mean? If y'all haven't had the conversations about children, do have it. And be open. Be open, be honest, be flexible, but please, really do tell the truth about it, because you don't 3 years down the road, and then all of a sudden like, well, we can adopt now. Huh, you who her hell?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, adopt what?
And if you have had the conversation, just bring it back up from time to time. Like I said, people's ideas and notions and
change.
views change. So
yeah, and kids, it's too serious of a subject not to go truly be, like I said, to go deep with it, because just the idea of children, as I tell my friends, I'm like, children changes things.
yes.
It's simple as that, and they must come first. So that's where we're at. That's our conversation today, and I want y'all to think about it. Write us and tell me how you think about it and how y'all dealing with it. So, as always, we're always wishing you the very best.
Of all good things, stay safe and stay woke. Thank you.